Meow. No, how are you, sir? You're what? Yeah. The ideal situation is you wouldn't be able to. The ideal situation is the people listening to your podcast wouldn't be able to hear me. I feel like that's mostly to their benefit if that's the case. Oh, I just mean because I add nothing of value to the podcast. I'm just a complete jackass, and they're probably happier if they can't hear me. Who's Mike? Okay, but who's Mike? And I don't think it has because I can hear you. Are you taking? Yeah, that's what I meant. I don't add anything of value to this podcast. See, I just proved myself right. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was actually some pretty good action scenes in this. I'm rewatching it while we're talking right now. Is that a threat? Are you saying I'm dead? I'm either alive or dead, right? Ooh, I didn't notice that, but like there's the very first couple seconds of the episode is kind of a cool little like combat moment with Uraraka and Froppy, where they're like fighting in the front lines. Yeah, it's just kind of cool to see them doing something. Class A has really been pushed to the background for a lot of this other than Red Riot. And adds nothing of value to the stream. Forgot that part. Oh, we're not doing Twitch. What about Twitch? We're not in Twitch right now? Oh, is it a secret? Guys, I was wrong. It's not live. It's on YouTube. It sounds like too many. 1, 4. Oh, you're right. 8. We're 8 in already, dude. Okay. Yeah. That's crazy. How many are in a season? That's sad. So much of this is over already. this arc is this season is my least favorite so far of My Hero Academia. That's not saying it's bad, but the other two were fantastic, and this one's not quite as fantastic so far. They just, I feel like a little more disorganized. Like I feel like they're trying to like shove in a lot of characters, and I know they did that in the past, but in the past they would have like a core of main characters that you kind of like got to know and like you bonded with like fairly well, and they cycled them in kind of nicely, and like you, even though you were meeting a lot of new people, it wasn't so bad. In this, I feel like so far, like we're 8 episodes in, which means we're like a third of the way through the series, and I'm still kind of like meeting people and trying to figure out who the heck they are and what they do. And I don't feel so much like I'm connecting with people. Like Midoriya really hasn't done anything huge yet, for example, other than like meet a character, with somebody else. And it's just weird. Like I'm used to seeing Midoriya at the center of the story, and so far he's just kind of like tagging along for the story. And the story is being driven and led by pro heroes for the most part right now, and not class A at all, really. You know what I mean? And I just don't get that awesome feeling from it. Like they're sort of bystanders, you know what I mean? And they're not in the forefront. And it's just missing that cohesive feeling that like I kind of want from all this. So I'm sure it's going somewhere, and I have a lot of faith that this is all going to pay off. But right now, a third of the way into the series, like it's just not as good at 8 episodes into the series as the other ones were by the 8th episode. Yeah, we're getting a lot of photo heroes, but we're also like the main heroes aren't as cool. Like instead of having awesome like main heroes like All Might and and all those other like he's not dead. No, he's not. He's not actually dead yet. That you would know by episode 8. Oh my god. Yeah, I know. But what I mean is, like, the other episodes had really powerful, likable central characters and really tangible central plot lines. In this, we sort of have two different bands of villains. We've got like the fourth year students and the third year students. So you've got the big three, and then you've got Class A, and then you've got the pro heroes, and some of the Class A are like working as pro heroes right now, and some of them aren't. And one of the teachers came along to help out, and the other teachers are back, and All Might is like not a hero, but he might try to be a hero, and he's kind of in the center of this story, but he's kind of not. And Night Eye, like, you know what I mean, like wasn't going to take Midoriya, and then he was. And it's just, the story is just in chaos right now compared to like where it was in the other ones, where you felt like you had your feet on the ground a little bit more. And like again, I don't know if it's necessarily going to be a bad thing in the long run, but at this point in the story, everything is up in the air for me, and I'm still constantly meeting new characters, and I'm constantly struggling to like feel like I'm on balance with things, like, and not in a good way, like not in a like, yeah, like I know what's going on and this is exciting, and like it's off balance because like the plot is progressing. It's more like I'm still kind of adapting to the story. I feel like a little bit episode 2 or 3 right now, but it's episode 8. Well, people pop in and out. Plus, I thought we weren't supposed to talk about how we were streaming. Yeah, but that's the thing. Previous seasons I thought did world building better than this one. I think this one's doing too much at once right now. Who's mm, mm, mm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I think they're likable. I just think it's too much at once. Like I said, it's not that I don't like the individual pieces. It's just all together they're making me feel off balance and like there's chaos going on. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. This this is also my favorite episode from the season so far. Right, that's what I mean. That like it could pay off, but right now I like this episode because I felt like I could wrap my mind around it. Episode one, I could wrap my mind around too, but that's because it was kind of a filler episode or like a recap episode. Mm-hmm. 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 Did he disappear?
Hello. Yeah, I did not turn my mic on, so you were just talking to voidless space for like maybe 2 to 10 minutes.
Well, that's probably one of the reasons that that person left then.
That's why I don't need to fool around with the audio settings. This is why I don't need to
Mm-hmm.
do it because I forget things. But back onto what I was saying, or what I could not be heard saying, was like Sun Eater. Pretty much we'll talk about his relationship with Miorio, the character, or Lemillion, the character that you don't really have a fondness for, because he seems like basic.
Mm-hmm.
I will have to admit he is kind of basic, and he's kind of even more basic here, because all you really see him doing is like cheering on his friend and saying that you're more awesome than I am, and we also get a
Mm-hmm.
little of history on his hero name and why he's called Sun Eater.
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty
Although
cool.
I had
That
a tough time following why. I got that Muriel was the son, kind of, and then he eats. But
well,
I was having trouble.
the basics of it is that Mirio says that he's a lot more awesome than he is, and he's so awesome that he could
Mm.
just blot out the sun, aka
He could
Sun
eat
Eater.
the son, but it was like,
Well, yeah, I
oh,
mean eat the sun,
well,
but like aka he can eat the sun. He's a lot. He shines brighter. He shines brighter than Maori is what Prince Mario said.
I guess.
So it's like, and I guess in a way, like I would say out of three, yeah, he's probably like the more one of the number ones of the big three. You fight me on that one, I don't really care because like the chick, she
Mm-hmm.
until she does something, which I think she'll do something at some point. I forgot when, but until I figure out where, because I don't understand. I still don't understand her quirk to this day. I still don't understand it other than her vitality. So I made complaints that she's really bubbly and it's kind of annoying. I guess it has something to do with her quirks. So I guess we'll figure that out and whenever she does her thing, whenever that happens. But
Mm-hmm.
this episode we got a chance to focus on him and like he deals with these villains that from the Yakuza, the Bullets, and he deals with three of them at once, which shows that he's capable, more than capable of taking on three villains. I guess maybe they were just considerably weaker because they said they were trash. So I guess that's probably what dealt with that too. But
Yeah, but they were pretty okay. They had basic abilities, but 3v1 was still a big feat. I even think for Pro Hero that would have been a lot. So
well, I mean, other pro heroes are talking
as,
about, are you sure about this guy? But Fat Gum reassured them that he had faith in him because
yeah, it
he
was
definitely
just it
said.
was especially with how coordinated the three of them were. You know what I mean? Like they were really working well together.
Well, I mean,
So
one had a quirk called larceny, and he gets to steal things that he can see. That's which is another
mm-hmm.
thing. Like I said before, I forgot about that quirk. Like a lot, I had a lot to do with the fact that I could not tell what was happening during the fight when I was reading. So this is gonna
Mm-hmm.
irritate me more than likely throughout the freaking the rest of this arc. A lot of what was happening, I could not tell what was happening.
Yeah.
Um,
I you know what I like slash Sun Eater's like relationship though. It was sort of like a flip on Bakugo and Midoriya because like Midoriya was kind of the bullied one, you know, growing up, and Tamaki was the kind of bullied one. But Midoriya has a personality that's more like Miorio's. Do you know what I mean? Like optimistic and willing to believe in anything. And Tamaki has a personality that would be a little closer to Bakugo's. Do you know what I mean? Where he's like the the sullen kind of angsty, like you know what I mean? Like has like a little bit. So it was interesting to see them kind of flipped. You know
I'm
what I mean?
sorry,
And like
I'll let
Mirio
you
is.
finish here, but you're kind of cutting in and out. And you were doing the last two episodes, so I don't know that contributes to like your thoughts don't get through. Just thought I'd let you know that so you can maybe your thoughts weren't all the way getting through. So when you're getting something important, it would cut out.
Sorry. Well, I can recap for a second what I was saying. Tell me if I'm cutting out again. Mirio and Tamaki were kind of the opposite of Bakugo and Midoriya. So like Midoriya is like really optimistic and like willing to believe in anything and idealistic, and Miorio's got a little bit of that too. And Bakugo is kind of the dark, has that like little dark kind of angsty side to him, and Tamaki's got kind of that slash Sun Eater. And like it was just interesting because Mirio is like supportive of Tamaki, where you know where Tamaki was kind of bullied, Midoriya was kind of bullied, but Bakugo kind of like led the bullying instead of leading the support for him. You know what I mean? So it's kind of interesting to see how the same situation like flip flops like that, and have those two have sort of a mirror universe version of the other relationship. You know, I
Yeah,
like that.
I'd like to point out though. I mean, yeah, there are some layers in there, but you also forgot to mention that not only was Bakugo leading the bullying, he had his
Hmm.
own inferiority complex dealing with Deku because
Yeah.
anytime Deku thought he was helping him, he took it as an insult. Which honestly, when you really think about that too, Deku never really let his feelings known. Miorio did, like almost 100% of the time he was honest. Deku never
Hmm.
really Deku, yeah, he was optimistic, but he also never really let Bakugo know how he was feeling, or I mean, not that Bakugo cared at the time, but at the same time, it was like looking at it like that, like uh, yeah, there's definitely some similarities, but also some vast differences. It almost like
Yeah, but
Miorio and like Tamaki are like more functional friends versus like the Bakugo and Deku's dysfunctional friendship.
mhm. But again, Tamaki and Bakugo are both insecure about their abilities. You know what I mean? So there's that too. Like if Bakugo is like if they're flip flop, then Bakugo is got one more similarity there with Tamaki.
Well, I mean, yeah, they're supposed to be both really powerful, so yeah. I mean, yeah,
Yeah.
I'm not saying the similarities aren't there. I'm just saying like there's also a little bit like
Mhm.
more dysfunctionality there. Like, I mean, we're kind of seeing like, what could be versus what is, and
Yeah.
uh, only really Miorio only really cultivated that because he came to Tamaki's defense like 100% of the dang time. But
Hmm.
but
Well,
yeah,
in the same way that Miorio's support of Tamaki is the backship, Midoriya's support of Bakugo is kind of the backbone of that friendship too. Like the fact that Midoriya believes in Bakugo at all times, like as much as Bakugo resents it, like it's also kind of pulling them together.
that's also true. I guess see, yeah. Well, that backstory you got a chance to see. Apparently, like it's funny too. Like like back when they were learning how far they can push their quirks, and then Miorio was showing that well, at the time that we saw that flashback, he didn't have control over being able to go through walls. Um, it was kind of funny to see that like Miorio even like. It really wasn't the fact that like his quirk wasn't powerful enough. He was just too dang shy to show what his quirk could possibly do because
Hmm.
he didn't like to be, I guess, like the center of attention. But I guess like
Hmm.
is like I really relate to that because like I kind of want to slide in the back. I don't want to be the focus of attention sometimes. So it's like he's got that problem and he's in high school and he's like in his senior year of high school, and I guess this episode's a pretty good like development for him too, showing that he can't like he refuses to lose because he was in this fight and he was willing to go all out for the sake of his friend. Which I guess another thing too is like what Baco doesn't have is the willingness to accept the kindness that Deku's given him, and Tamaki's taking it all and then going full forward with it.
It's also sort of an interesting parallel here, and this is between Mario and All Might, is that you know how like All Might when one of his catchphrases when he arrives, he says, what's he say? Something everything's gonna be okay because I am here.
Yeah, I am here is what he says.
Yeah, and Miorio when he's talking to Sun Eater, he says like, I can be the best I can be because you are here. It's interesting, you know what I mean, with All Might's catchphrase and his, you know what I mean, saying that like because you are here, I can be the best I can, especially with a series that like loves the flip flopping. You know what I mean? So we have the flip flop of Bakugo and Midoriya's roles. We have the flip flop of One for All and All for One, and here we have you're safe because I am here, and I'm the best I can be because you are here.
Yeah, I guess mainly like
These little like themes, do you know what I mean, that are like going throughout the entire series are really cool.
I mean, teamwork is kind of something that's been like they're really trying to push here because All Might is like no longer a service to them anymore. The business that All Might is technically speaking, he is effectively dead. I mean, but he's not really dead because the guy who is All Might is still all around. But I still say he's effectively dead because All Might can't do anything. Even with the muscular form, he can't do anything
Mhm.
because he doesn't have the power behind it. Which is kind of why I say that All Might is dead. I'm not. I know All Might's actually alive still. But I'm just saying that effectively he's dead because he can't do anything. Like the next best bet they got is Endeavor, and Endeavor, as we right now know, is upset that he got number one role the way he got it. He unfortunately will have to deal with that,
Mhm.
and we'll hopefully see how he deals with that later on. But yeah, me the role, I guess. Yeah, a lot of, I guess when you want to talk about like, I guess being here or you are here, they kind of pull an all for one with the villain, like the little lackeys that Tamaki was dealing with. Saying because
Mhm.
each one of them had a rough patch in their life before they got found by Chie, I forgot his name. Overall, they had this little
Mhm.
imagery of essentially him in the darkness of his handout saying that like you'll be all right because like you are like I am here or something like that. Like they kind of pull an all for one where he pulls people into the darkness, that type of thing. And
Yeah, that's a good point too. He's
yeah,
being like the anti All Might in that sense.
he essentially pulls them in, and they're able to do what they're able to do because at least they have a purpose, regardless if they're going to get tossed away in the future. They don't care about that because at least they got a purpose. Because one of them
Mhm.
had a girlfriend who uh, cheated on them. One of them had a relationship with somebody who, because his quirk was able to make diamonds, he was a valuable source. But when they found out the diamonds he made wasn't real, he got dumped. Which, by the way, is really
Mhm.
freaking harsh because like that's ridiculous. But it's kind of interesting. There's quirks out there that can make things that look alike, and I guess because
Mhm.
they're made from human body, they're not real.
Mhm.
So it kind of makes the whole like, if you have a ability to make something, would you be able to get rich off of it? Not really, because I guess your body wouldn't be able to produce a real specimen that could be used or be valuable for anything. So that's pretty cool.
Right.
And one of them was able to eat things, which, by the way, Eraserhead took care of that guy real quick. I will say, if Tamaki, I guess, realized that he was more dangerous than he appeared, he probably would have taken care of them faster.
Mhm.
Maybe not. I don't really know. But like Sunny Opponents takes out all these people with a little bit of struggle, but yeah, he does take them all out and it slams them against the wall. Essentially,
Mhm.
proving that he's a lot more useful than he gives them credit for.
One of the really dangerous thing about these villains, although the fact that they're together, is, and this is what he realizes because he starts using it against them, is that they have Stain like loyalty, like the way Stain's followers are loyal to Stain. They have that loyalty towards Overhaul. Do you know what I mean? They're like, this guy's our savior. Like he's our ideal that we believe in, and we're not gonna like we don't care if we go down. Like we're gonna do whatever we can to help him. In the same way that like the fanatical like loyalty of Stain, came into play. So it's really amazing to see that. Do you know what I mean? And see how that works. And he's really smart to like find ways to use them against themselves when he realizes that. But that loyalty, I think, is one of the big sources that's going to be a problem for taking him down in the future. That his people are willing to go down for him in a way that I don't think they were for some of the other villain leaders. You know what I mean?
Well, the Yakuza is a Japanese gang. I feel like I'm pronouncing that wrong, and I know I'm gonna kind of get lambasted for it. But the
Mm-hmm.
Yakuza, but they are a Japanese gang, and I think typically gangs are close knit families. So it isn't that shocking that they're
Him,
that
they believe that
close.
he's their savior.
Well, I mean,
Like it's almost like an ideological fanaticism, not just like self
well, to
preservation
go
or family.
to go back to the whole that he held his hand out for them when they were at the lowest point of their life. Of course, they're gonna have some fanatical. Essentially, the best way to put it, and I guess I'm gonna have to
Mm-hmm.
quote this YouTuber. Is it Angry Joe? No, it's a Nostalgia Critic because they did a review of Superman, and essentially the one phrase that kept on having repeated throughout this entire review was "I am
Mm-hmm.
Jesus, I am Jesus." It's essentially
Mm-hmm.
what he is to them. Like he is essentially their god, and they'll do anything. They'll do anything for him. Which yeah, it's definitely a
Mm-hmm.
fanatical type of situation there. And those are just the lower fanatics. Like it's probably gonna get more dangerous when they get to the higher fanatics,
Mm-hmm.
or even that fanatic outside that's like that big muscular dude that's been taking down everybody who's hold off by that dragon chick. Hopefully we'll deal with
Yeah.
that. Hopefully we'll see that fight at some point. Um,
And meanwhile, Overhaul talks about and treats them as if they're like game pieces. So he's really, really cold and calculating about them. They're really, really devoted to him. It's just a really killer combination. You know what I mean? He doesn't. have that same devotion to them. He's not like going to take a shot for them
I'm not gonna sit there and say that he doesn't
to
have a
be his
devotion to them,
expendables.
because his whole, at least from the looks of it, is his
Mhm.
like he's trying to bring the Yakuza back up to infamy, because they fell off infamy during
As
Quirk's
a
when showing.
group, yes, but not individually. Individually, he has that scene where he talks to the guy with the hand on his face. What's that guy's name?
uh Shigaraki.
Shigaraki. He has that scene where he's talking to Shigaraki and he's like, you had some big players in your, on your field and you were like using them poorly. Like he's like, I could have used them much more effectively than you have. And you lack that strategy that I have, blah, blah, blah. But when he's having that conversation with him, you get this feeling that like he saw them as like assets and pawns and things like that, and something that is going to be expended, not something that's going to be expended wastefully. He was like, you need to use your assets better. But he did consider them assets. He just saw them as more valued assets than the other guy did, because they're a means to an end, and you shouldn't give them up needlessly. Not because he believes in them, or he feels like they're family or something.
I guess if you look at it like that way, I guess I never thought about it, because, like, I mean, yeah, I mean,
Mhm.
the way he did talk about Shigaraki's gang, the Shigaraki handled everybody like family, because like All For One was the only one he had that was an example. While Chiasaki, I think his actual name is, he
Mhm.
did definitely talk about them as game pieces, and I guess I overlooked that whole topic of, like, I guess his game pieces, in that you had some really powerful players here, but you didn't use them effectively. Which I guess at the grand scheme of things, yeah, he had a lot of people there that we know their quirk, and he didn't really use them well. He essentially let them do as they pleased. Well, Chiasaki is not. He's telling them what to do, and that's the only thing they're doing. So and so was that
Yeah.
guy who took that drug and then went to the wall and started twisting the labyrinth around. It was an interesting
Yeah,
quirk.
that was cool.
I don't know if they ever went into his quirk at all. I mean, we saw him do it, but I don't think they talked about it. I could be wrong
Well,
about
they
that though.
said they could mimic something no bigger than like a refrigerator, but he takes that shot right before he's in there, the quirk accelerator, which made him much more able to do it. So he was able to become a whole labyrinth because of that
What
thing.
was his quirk name? Did he actually say it?
Mimic.
Mimic.
His
Oh,
name is Mimic. Yeah, so
oh.
I'm sure his quirk has
I
something to
guess
do
it
with
would be
mimicry.
Mimic then.
Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, like, he took the shot and allowed him to, like, do a lot more. Which I guess is another thing too. I guess we can talk about, you talk about morality, and I guess there's gonna be some parallels here, and how, how in real life steroids are not looked upon as something that people should take, and people, you kind of like are looked down upon if you take a
Sound is
steroid,
breaking up.
huh?
Your sound's breaking up a lot.
Am I breaking up now?
No,
How often
for a
was I
couple
breaking
sentences.
up?
It was for a couple sentences.
You're doing the same thing just now. My goodness gracious.
I don't know.
I hope
Maybe
they didn't get
our
picked up. Hope they didn't get picked up on the podcast. I'll know afterwards. At that point, it'll be too late. But
our connection is probably just not the greatest right now for some reason through Discord.
yeah, Discord's having some problems apparently.
Yeah.
Saying something. Oh yeah, like the I guess we could talk about some. So you like to talk about morality a lot with the show, and I think the show does a good job with the whole showing you morality. But
Mhm.
well, before we go into the drug thing, we did see that at least Fat Gun was like, when they were breaking in, he was kind of acting like a police officer, saying that we come to look around. They don't got much of a reason to be there, which is, I guess, kind of a good, like, thing that they addressed, that they're kind of breaking into somebody's house even though they really shouldn't be.
Yeah.
So it's kind of interesting they decided to, I guess, have them say that, even though they know they're there to pick up a little girl. Um, but I don't think that's what their search warrant was for. Yeah, it was search
No,
warrant
the
was
search.
for a drug, wasn't it?
They said we think you have illegal drugs.
Okay, that's what it is. Okay.
The stuff
Well,
about the little girl is like their real mission, but on paper that has nothing to do with their mission.
well, got that morality problem going on there, or at least like them at least addressing it. I know in the
Mhm.
real world, I'm gonna equate this to to our reality, but steroids and anything else that can enhance your strength or stuff like that, like, are looked down upon if you use it, and you're gonna look down
Mhm.
upon if you use it, like in contests and stuff like that, like the decathlon.
Mhm.
it's like, how do you feel in this world? It's like it's almost like a necessity for some people because like um some people's quirks just aren't that powerful on their own, and like if they were to attempt to do anything heroic or villainous, their quirks because of how
Mhm.
weak they are, like there's no way they could be of any real like asset. And some people would say this train gets stronger, but like, what if your quirk can't get stronger than normal means? How do you feel about a drug out there that, well, so as far as we can tell, it doesn't have any real side effects? We haven't seen any yet. So I'm gonna
Mhm.
hold my, I'm gonna hold out there. Maybe might be a side effect, but barring that, there's a side effect. How you feel about something substance that can enhance your quirk, like that guy during the Kirishima episode, he was only able to send out like 4-inch knives, but when he put that drug in him, he was able to make full on swords. Like, I guess from a morality standpoint, if you had a quirk that wasn't that strong, would you take it if you were given the opportunity to?
Um, I guess
In
it's
that
not really
world,
whether
it
or
pretty
not
much.
you,
Hmm?
it's not really. I guess the issue isn't whether you take it or not. It's like what you do with it once you have it. You know what I mean? Like if that nurse staff member used it to heal people, like who would say that's immoral? I think it's more of a matter of if if you're using it for a responsible or good reason versus a bad one.
I guess that makes sense. Yeah. I mean, we only seen like villain people use it. Even the Yakuza guy here, Mimic, who used it to take over an entire mansion. So I wonder if
Yeah,
that was like a last minute thing, or was he told to do that? Because he was like a small dude, a small clerk, wasn't he?
yeah. He seemed like he knew what he was doing, so I would say he at least had a plan before they showed up. You know, he didn't look like he was panicking and acted hastily. He probably thought this is something they would do, like even maybe even days ahead of time or weeks ahead of time.
I guess. I mean, the
What
way.
else was? What else did he think he was going to use his power on around there? There was literally nothing else,
Got a good point.
anything else he can mimic. Now, I have a theory about what's her name? Crap! I just knew Ari's ability and what it could be. If she's Overhaul's daughter,
Before you continue that thought, I'll let you continue. But
mhm,
I'm just gonna like, for anybody watching this in the future, I already know what Aries' quirk is. I'm just gonna let him like take a guess. I'm not gonna tell him
okay.
what it is because we're not gonna find out what it is until whenever they show it. But just thought I'd just let that be known.
So Overhaul can disassemble and reassemble things, and that's his quirk. So he has one of those quirks like Icy Hot does, where he can do something or he can do its opposite. Icy Hot can do fire, create heat or cold, and that's his ability. He can create something. So we've been watching these drugs do two different things. One of them is they greatly amplify a quirk, and the other is they nullify the quirk. So I'm guessing that if they're using Ares as the source for both, then her ability has some connection to greatly amplifying or nullifying the quirk, and that it's the same quirk for both of them because it's one of those polar ones that can do either side of the spectrum.
So you're saying that her quirk is similar in some ways to Overhaul's ability.
Yeah, so in the way that Overhaul can disassemble or reassemble things, hers does the same thing but with quirks. Like it can build up a quirk or it can take it apart, just like Overhaul can take something apart or build it back up.
That's a interesting theory you got there. I was about
No?
to almost give you the right direction, but like, no, I'm not gonna do that. Yeah,
Okay.
it's interesting. Like, I mean, do you want me to say maybe you're in the right ballpark or not? I mean, it's up to you.
No, I want to
Okay,
just have fun with it.
okay, but yeah, you kind of like that's an interesting like way to look at it because we haven't seen her do anything. We've only just heard secondhand hearsay saying that her blood cells might be inside those capsule things that they're shooting out.
Yeah, I think there's something hard about it, but I don't like hard about using it. I think there's something that is preventing her from
I'm sorry. I'm
oh,
sorry. I'm
there's
sorry.
some
I'm sorry. No,
preventing her from using.
continue what you're saying. What I'm saying, like you just said there's something hard about it. I'm like, should we be talking about that around a little girl?
Oh my god.
I'm sorry. But continue. I'm done.
Do you need to take a break for a minute?
Or am I? Or am I not done? No, I'm done. I'm done. Continue.
um, so this horny little girl
Dear God.
has something about her quirk that
You
hard
just
to
cut out.
use.
You just cut out.
I said this horny little girl has something about her quirk that makes it really hard for her to use.
Mm-hmm.
So she just can't wrap her head around it. You know what I mean? Well, I don't know.
I can't say anything right now about this because like, it's just gonna be spoilers out the out the wazoo. I can't say anything. All I can say is yeah, that's interesting. That's interesting. Yeah,
Sorry
that's
to put you in sorry to put you in that bad spot, but it's just
no. I mean, it was my fault because I just couldn't. Because they decided to wait till October to do anything with this anime, and I just wasn't saying no. I'm gonna read this now because I want to know what Overhaul is about. So like, it's my fault that I'm in this situation. It truly
yeah.
is. I couldn't wait. I don't regret anything. But as I said before, I've forgotten a lot of things. So other than what I do know for sure, which is certain
Mhm.
abilities and what they can do, and certain fights are coming up. Like there are certain things I just forgot
Mhm.
about. The big three, I've forgotten a lot about what happened with them in this one. So other than Miorio, but the only reason I remember what happens in Miorio is because it's plot. It's very plot specific. But and this probably that was probably too much right there. But like I've forgotten. I don't even know what like Uraraka and Froppy really do this arc either. I have forgotten.
Oh
So,
wait, he even says that to when he's pointing the gun at him.
hmm?
He says he erased his quirk, an inferior version of Ares' quirk. One of the criminals says that when he's pointing the gun at him. So her quirk is at least partially able to erase quirks. So like that's confirmed in the anime because he said that was an Eraserhead's got an inferior version of her quirk.
Dang, because I say something, it's going to just crap. Okay, this is what I'm gonna try. I'm gonna try tiptoeing around this. I don't know
Mm-hmm.
if like her quirk
Mm-hmm.
is able to. I guess I don't know if her quirk is able to nullify quirks. That
He
is
said
something.
Eraserhead's ability to nullify her quirk was an inferior version of Ares' quirk.
Yeah, but because of what I know, I'm like that information is conflicting with what I do know, and I don't know if that's just a liberty they took in the anime or that's really something
Mm.
that I forgot about. Which, by the way, I've forgotten some things. So if that is an aspect of what I don't know, shoot, I
Mm.
can't wait for them to actually show that's what she's able to do. Because we already know for a
It
fact
is
that
interesting.
Overhaul can reconstruct and deconstruct things. If it looks of it,
Right.
he has to touch it to do that. And apparently, he's kind of got like a, I guess a condition for when he does that because as we do know, because the little girl doesn't have gloves on her hands, so we don't know what her conditions are. Because he did
Yeah.
before, he definitely did say she has an issue. On top of that, they're trying to keep her happy. So maybe her quirk has a condition where she has to be happy to do whatever she can do, which would be an interesting idea. Like
Happy or something.
in an emotional state she has to be in to use a quirk, which would be an interesting idea.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but like with a condition with his, we've seen him have to take off his glove because he can't do anything with his gloves on. At least as far as we can tell. I mean, he's taking his gloves all the dang time when he's about to use his quirk, so it looks like he has to be touching it physically to do what he's got to do. Like how
Mm-hmm.
Shigaraki's got to have all his fingers on the spot he's
Did
trying to
you just
disintegrate.
say? Did he just say that he has to physically be touching it to do what he's got to do?
He has to be physically touching whatever he wants to disintegrate or reconstruct.
Oh, okay.
You know what, Jock? I hate how you said that. I hate.
As the fight as the fight's going on, how do you feel about the fact that the heroes are being spread extremely thin?
Um, considering that this labyrinth of a home base that they're in is like right now they're at a disadvantage.
Labyrinth itself is a villain. They have right now. What do they have left? They have now that they've left Sun Eater behind,
Well, they
and
got Miorio. They got they got.
Miorio is like Miorio broke away from the group too, though.
Well, that's right. He did.
So they have Red Riot, Fat Gum, Eraserhead, Midoriya, Night Eye, and maybe a few cops in the core group right now, right? Because most of the cops got caught up before the main group.
You got that hero, that other hero, Lockjaw. Is that what his name is? Lockrock? I forgot his freaking the guy who was against the little kids being in the group. I forgot his name. He's with them right now.
He's still with them. He didn't like.
Yeah, he's still with them.
Okay.
He didn't break free.
It's a pretty good group, I guess, to be fair, but like I just feel like they're continuously like giving up a huge portion of their team, you know what I mean, to like
Well, I mean, considering
continue.
I mean, yeah, I understand that and I agree with that, but at the same time, considering the thing they're dealing with right now is an unknown force, and on top of that, the Labyrinth you said is his own villain now. They don't split up. They're not gonna get anywhere. They're not gonna get anywhere fast. And Tamaki even said that the main reason why he let them go is that they couldn't have every hero there because like the whole point was they're just trying to prevent them from getting too far into the labyrinth before they can get out. So at the same time, it's like, oh, we know this now, and they kind of have an idea of what's happening, but they can't exactly um play the villain's game at this point. So splitting up is as bad an idea as it is. We kind of have to trust that each hero that signed up for this can fight on their own. And granted,
I'm just worried about what's left when they reach overhaul not being enough.
Well, we just hope that what we can really do is hope that whoever gets to him can handle him. Because if they can't, this entire mission was for naught. And I already know. Before you ask, I already do know who makes it to overall. That's why I was very very vague about what I said there.
Yeah.
This is a pain in the butt. I already know how some of this pans out. I can't wait for some of it to get animated because I really want to see how it looks. But yeah, for them splitting up, I think it works. It's working out pretty well because they all have quests we don't really know much about and what they're capable of doing at full strength. So we had to see how it pans out.
What does Lockjaw do? I'm not saying this for any reason, but he's the black guy, right, with the yellow mask.
Well, you gotta be black, huh? Wait, why you gotta be black? No, yeah, he's the guy with the black mask. He's the guy with the black mask and the green suit.
Okay, I don't know what he can do yet.
That's the thing. I don't even remember what his quirk is.
Oh, so he's probably pretty important. Okay.
Well, I'm gonna.
I don't know what. Like,
I'm gonna
say. Tell me much.
I'm gonna say this much. Don't get attached to him.
Oh, good. Okay.
So that's kind of a spoiler, but I don't think it really matters because he's not that important.
No, I don't care. But don't give me too many spoilers.
I'm not trying to spoil. I'm just saying that, like, if anything, don't get attached to him. You can if you want to, but I wouldn't. And I wasn't that attached to him even before I knew whatever I knew about him.
He was black. Sorry.
Honestly, I've seen too many anime where they got the black people in there too, so I'm kind of like not that interested in by a black character that much anymore nowadays.
But he's wearing green.
They're all over the place. That doesn't matter.
He's wearing green.
Okay, you get attached to him.
I like him because he's wearing green.
But anything else in this episode that's I guess worth mentioning? I mean, we can talk about Mayorio and how he broke free. As we are now seeing, we know this for a while now. He's kind of felt responsible for what's responsible. He kind of felt responsible for Eri getting still where she is right now. So he's kind of just broken free and going forward through the walls because he can do that. He isn't like he isn't because he's able to go through things. He doesn't have to. He doesn't have to be behind a wall. He can go right through it, which is a really ingenious ability for somebody doing reconnaissance. but he's not really doing it for that purpose. He's just trying to get through so he can get to Erie, which is where they're gonna see if that pans out for him or not. Also, with the 8 bullets, we only seen 3 of the 8. Where are the other 5, 6, 7? Where are the other 5? Oh no, correction. We've seen 4 of the 8. Where are the other 4?
Well,
Like,
they could still be a
what are they doing?
vanguard.
Hmm?
They could still be a vanguard. I don't think that everything left is going to be what fight Overhaul if they even reach him. I think there's still at least one more line of defense before they get to the end of this.
I mean, there's still plenty of like we gotta see before they get to Overhaul, if they get to Overhaul. But it's like they still gotta get like Fat Gum is still like with them. They got a good group of heroes. I will say as long as they don't like split up from now, they should be fine because Fat Gum is experienced. So I mean he's a pro hero. So he knows what to expect or what he should because he still got Night Eye with them too. So with Night Eye they can predict wherever they gotta go.
Kind of, but I keep worrying about Night Eye. I don't like that. He doesn't look like he's very combat strong, and I get the way he has to come along because he's that has divisions of everything. But I really don't. I wish he was like leaving. Like I wish he wasn't part of this group because I feel like he's more of a liability right now than an asset.
Well, I think Night Eye is with them because he's the one that put together this entire what's the word for this operation. So
Yeah,
I
I
think
know, but his ability is to like have that like sixth sense thing. I don't know what to call it, but like he can have those visions. You know what I mean? And that's his ability. He being in a combat situation just puts him at risk more than anything. And I get that he actually saw everything and he can bring that memory onto the spot, but like he's one more thing for them to protect. You know what I mean? Like he's not even. I feel like he's not even as combat strong.
well, here's the thing. I don't know if you really should be all that worried about Night Eye because if you were talking about him being in danger or him being a liability, he was All Might psychic. Do you think that man was ever safe if he was ever on the battlefield? Because like whatever All Might punched, he would make debris. And we saw that he was able to. Granted, Deku isn't the strongest, person to use this comparison with. Even though it doesn't look like he's all that combat strong, because of his perception, he could dodge hits. Like he seems to almost be pinpoint with like if whatever they're gonna swing with. It's almost ridiculous. Granted, I will say this much: Deku is still a hero in training. So because Deku doesn't know how to deal with somebody who can predict his moves before he makes them, he is gonna just come off. He is just gonna just like not be able to hit. He's just gonna be too underpowered. For a person that probably can deal with that, I don't know what his quirk is at max or if it can be pushed any further because it is just perception. But because he was All Might's freaking sidekick, I wouldn't be all that concerned because if he was out there with All Might, which he probably could have been, he was in more danger than he is in right now. My opinion.
Yeah, I suppose so. The group only has 3 good brawlers left. Like the main core group. They have Fat Gum, they have Midori. 2 of those aren't even pro heroes yet. Lockjaw, I'm looking at a picture of him right now, and he has pictures of locks on his shoulder pads, and his costume kind of looks like a lock, and he's got a key ring. So I feel like maybe his ability is connected to like lockpicking somehow or something having to do with locks. So that doesn't strike me as somebody that's superpower is connected to combat. I mean, he definitely looks like he can fight, but it looks like his superpower is not combat related. So Midoriya, Thackum, and Red Riot are the 3 that have a superpower related to combat. Eraserhead's a trick ability, you know what I mean, that we've seen is sometimes limited. And Mioria, or whatever his name is tricky, and that makes him extremely effective, but he's also broken away from the group. So they just have to hope they can get to him before he gets killed by Overhaul, because I don't think he can take Overhaul on his own. I feel fairly confident that he can't take Overhaul on his own.
Again, I'm in a situation I can't say anything.
Yeah, I don't think he's going to die or anything. I don't think that the story would write him as able to take Overhaul out in episode 9 of the series like that. I just don't think I don't think that's his destiny. So I don't know. It's a lot going on. I also don't know why they brought Eraserhead from a writing standpoint, because Eraserhead um, is too much of a foil. He's too powerful against somebody like Overhaul. Like, it'd be like Eraserhead versus Stain would be a really big problem. You know, if Eraserhead was like with 2 combat-based heroes and he was fighting Stain, like he could just erase Stain's ability, then the combat-based heroes would beat him up, and that would be pretty much it. And I don't like that he's in this group, because that makes me wonder if he's going to get knocked out or something like that, because he's too powerful against Overhaul.
Well, we've like Eraserhead. We've seen this throughout the course of like seeing him, in like in the anime. Um, he seems to prefer to avoid combat, but whenever he does get into combat, he's really strong. So yes,
Yeah.
he's definitely. I would say in this situation, he's the equivalent to All Might in this situation because if you were to get to the main villain, they'd probably be screwed. But that also sitting there saying if he gets to the main villain, because he could easily be stopped by somebody who's just really strong. Because
Yeah.
we still got the other 4 Hakai bullets still left, and
Mhm.
one of them could be like just as strong as just as strong as Eraserhead, or maybe even a little more stronger.
Mhm.
Because we've seen that these bullets guys aren't to be really messed around with,
Yeah.
and some of them got some
I
really
think
good
that
abilities.
people with multiple quirks seem to be Eraserhead doesn't seem to be as powerful against, because we saw him up against Nomu, and he didn't just erase all the Nomu's quirks. You know what I mean? I think that's because he had so many. And I've seen him in other situations where he was up against something with multiple quirks, and it looked like that was kind of like a problem for him, that he wasn't able to like erase all the quirks at once. So All For One, I think, could probably beat Eraserhead, just because Eraserhead wouldn't be able to erase all the quirks, and the Nomu would have beaten him. But I think Overhaul seems to have 1 quirk. You know what I mean? So the only thing that would make me wonder is if they take that shot and now they have a super powered quirk, would Eraserhead be able to erase it, or would he just be able
Well,
to like tone it down, or what?
that's
You
just
know what
one
I
of
mean?
those. I guess it's just one of those hypothetical situations. Like we know that the quirk is able. We know that the medicine is able to heighten the quirk's ability for a certain amount of time. Or actually,
Yeah,
is it permanent? I don't really know actually. But we know it's is able to
maybe a short
heighten.
amount of time. Otherwise, why would they just not always take the shot?
You saying they must
Why
be
would
permanent? What are you talking about? What
why
you cut out there?
it's permanent? You know what I mean? Why you're cutting in and out a lot too?
Jesus
Why would
Christ!
Mimic wait to take the shot if it was permanent? He would just take the shot instead of carrying it around.
I guess it is time then. Okay. Well, I mean, the like whole idea is like, I guess when it comes to this quirk power up, does it? I guess the question I actually have is, and this is never answered because I know if they ever answer it. But like, how far does it push a quirk? Like, let's say if you were able to push a quirk to its maximum limit, like on its own, because we know
Mm-hmm.
quirks are like muscles. So let's say if you push your body to its utmost limit, to its max ability, like you're as muscular as you can be,
Mm-hmm.
would you get even more muscular taking a steroid that makes it possible to push yourself even further?
Mm-hmm.
So like in a Razorhead situation, if he was okay with taking a medicine like this,
Mm-hmm.
would he be able to erase just 2 quirks, or would he be able to erase any and all quirks inside the person's body?
Right. The other thing to think about too is like, um, does amplifying your quirk, does that always turn out to be a good thing? Like if Midoriya got the shot, would his ability to control his quirk be like back to phase
Well,
one? But if he messes up, he
to
kills
answer
himself. Do you know what I mean?
to answer that question, I think we saw the answer to your question in My Hero movie that came out that we watched.
Mm-hmm.
We saw an example of quirk amplification. In that movie. Do you
What
know
did
what
we
I'm talking
say?
about?
No.
that main villain that he talked to, he took something and he had all these quirks just erupt in his body, and he was just like he was just crazy powerful. The guy that Midoriya and All Might fought at the end of the movie.
Hmm.
I think he took a quirk amplification, and I don't know if he was able to control his quirk at that point, or if he had multiple quirks. I forgot what exactly happened. I had to go back and watch that fight scene again. But I feel like that answers the question right there. Like, is it always a good thing? I don't think it always is. Or even in the case of the guy in the alleyway that Kirishima beat up,
Hmm.
he had a personality defect where he just felt inferior to everybody. Um, I don't think that was a good idea because I feel like that it not only I guess when I go back to the whole does this thing have a side effect? Maybe it does. Maybe if you're mentally unstable, you get crazy. Because when you look at that guy, he was very unstable to begin with, and all of a sudden he got this quirk, and his personality kind of shifted. And he became confident, kind of too
Yeah.
confident to the point where it was like it almost he was almost like a different person altogether.
Yeah.
So it's like there might be some positives to this thing, but I guess there's another thing too. It's like they outlawed the quirk attack bullet that makes your quirk disappear. Because
Yeah.
in Eraser had this, it's very similar to his quirk, but his quirk doesn't work that way. He has to look at them and it turns the quirk off for a limited time. But that bullet attacks you physically and destroys your quirk genetics.
For a little while, and then you get better.
Well, I mean, I think that like what they meant by that was like it could destroy it permanently. Slender just got lucky. Like maybe because
Mhm.
it wasn't finished and everything like that. So he probably got real lucky because if they shot him and it was complete, he probably would have lost his quirk altogether.
Yeah.
But I guess another thing too is like, it's kind of interesting they decide to let you know that now, because that one seems like maybe they're gonna have somebody get shot by the bullet when it's complete. You never really know.
Hmm.
But like I guess like if you had to take a pick, who you think would get shot by this bullet before the end of the on the arc that by the complete bullet? Like, who would your pick would be?
One person that would get shot by the bullet out of the current group.
Yeah.
Um.
Include everybody who's in this hidden operation, even if they're not with the current group right now. Like we're on the episode, like even if they're like on their own.
Okay. Let me think for a minute. I'm trying to remember everybody that's in the operation.
Well, everybody who's important in this operation. Let's say that.
Yeah. I'm just trying to like think about who's there.
Take your time.
I don't. I don't think it would be a Raraka. I don't think it'd be Froppy. I don't think it'd be a Racerhead. His quirk is too plot interesting. Um, and really not consequential enough. I think Red Riot is on my list. Um,
Well, that's assuming if they can get through his hardening to shoot him.
right, but that's why it would be an interesting writing. You know what I mean? It would be interesting to write it as that being what happened because of that.
Hmm.
Um, I don't think it'll be Najiri because she's already too established. I Tamaki's sort of on my list, but not deep. Mirio, I don't think it's going to happen to. I think Mirio has got too much to do. Night Eye would be high on my list. I'd say Red Riot, Night Eye, or Tamaki. I think are the three that I would guess.
I would answer this question, but I'm not going to.
I'm trying to think. Like, I don't think it's going to be Bubble Girl or some.
No, I understand. I'm saying like I'm not going to answer this question because I asked the question for a reason, and I actually wanted to get your opinion on something. But okay.
Yeah, I hate this because I'm looking at the wiki and I think it just told me. I think I'm so like
abort the mission. Then I mean, tell me who you think it just told you before you abort.
No. Okay, so I was looking at the list of characters so that I could scroll through and check names, and I saw Miorio and it said he was a former intern, which
that's not really anything important. So
okay,
you didn't find anything out. You didn't find nothing out.
But last time I looked at it, I found out somebody was listed as dead. That
Nobody
last
died.
what?
Did they? Nobody died in My Hero Academia.
Somebody's listed as dead on this main hero team, and if you don't know it, I'm definitely say it. But that was a spoiler too, and I just saw it from like scrolling through the list of characters, and it was
No,
really
I'm just
annoying
trying
me.
to think who you're talking about because either this is so far in the manga that I stopped before I got to it.
Yeah, I think maybe you did then, but one of the characters was listed, and I was surprised by that.
This is gonna bug me. Like, who is it? This is gonna. Now gonna be racking my brain trying to figure out what I do know and what I don't know.
Don't look it up. Just enjoy the story.
No, I am, but like right now I'm trying to like. I feel like
I wish I didn't know.
is the name important? Like, is this a name that we know of, or somebody we never heard of yet?
I'm not telling you anything else.
No, I'm actually kind of quite curious. Is it, like, you don't have to tell me the name. Is it the name of somebody we know already, or we don't know?
It's someone we know.
Now you really got my brain running 9 miles an hour because I really do want to know if in my brain if there is somebody that dies if it happens this arc or not.
Mm-hmm. I don't know. What frustrated me was the fact that I was just looking at the page that was the list of characters, and I'm frustrated that the notes that they have on there are so often spoilers. You know what I mean?
Well, that wiki is mostly made for that wiki is mostly for people who read the manga. So a lot of times, I guess it's something you should know. When a new manga title comes out, usually within a day or two, that wiki gets updated because all it does is keep up with the manga. It doesn't ever keep up with the anime. There's no wiki that does that. So like, I mean, like really, it's useful for people who read or are constantly up to date. So like, granted, for me, unfortunately, because I have read it, my news feed will like start giving me manga chapters at some point, and like I already know a lot what happens with Endeavor. I already know a lot what happens with a lot of characters. There's even some questions I've actually asked you that you probably like wrote off as just me asking questions that I've actually asked you. They were kind of hints towards something that you probably should be giving a thought to. So I'll just let you know that now. Like, I may not outwardly come out with a spoiler, but I might ask you a question, and you might want to start like, why would he ask a question like that? And start thinking about it in your own mind and figuring out, like, I guess in your own track in mind, like where it go. Because this is kind of what makes watching anime or reading manga interesting. Like you see something or somebody asks you a question. Like if I do ask you and it's about My Hero Academia, don't write it off completely. Just like I've actually asked a couple of questions in the past before this anime even came out. So just
you're trying to, I know, but it's like because you want to tell me, so
I don't tell you. I just come off a question and it's like
right. But I try not to think about them too much because I don't want to spoil it.
Well, I mean, you're never gonna really find out because like what actually happens and what you think is gonna be two different things, guaranteed.
Yeah.
So you don't have to really worry about spoiling yourself. Don't read the wikis, especially if you don't want to know certain things about certain characters. But so yeah, like it's just things. I've only asked you certain questions. I haven't ever asked you too much to think about. There's some things I did ask you, but they weren't really things that you would have to watch out for. Because as long as you don't read anything online, you'll be fine. Because your newsfeed won't pop up with random things. Because like Google tracks what you do, and Google will try to help you you find things faster. So the only thing you have to worry about if you do look something up, there's some other manga, like you probably have to avoid your newsfeed for a while so like Google pushes that out and trashes it.
Yeah,
that's the only thing you really have to worry about. I guess we can run out the track there. There's nothing else about the episode because I didn't watch the next episode trailer because I kind of want to like remain unspoiled on that because I don't remember when certain events happen, so I kind of like to keep that fresh.
Yeah.
So after this, I don't know what happens. I don't know if we're gonna go back to like Jerry or we're gonna go still stick with the current group. Are we gonna deal with like Chisaki and his grandfather? If we still haven't dealt with that yet.
I think the series is gonna finally shift to our main character, Froppy, and the rest of it's gonna be about Froppy.
And with that, I think it's a good time to end this episode podcast. We're just gonna end it on Froppy and whatever she does next in Froppy Ball Z. That does not sound right, and I'm just gonna stop now. That's just that I think I just ruined it. See ya.